Now you would be forgiven for thinking you had popped onto the wrong video when you opened this. All will be explained, it will make sense. This is in fact an Outlander review of episode 412, Providence. Welcome to my channel, thank you so much everybody for joining in and sticking past the mental opening. It is me, Shaun. I vlog all about Scottish culture on my channel and I talk about Outlander on my channel. And we are nearing the very end of Outlander Season 4. This was the penultimate episode today. 12 weeks of Outlander. We have been doing this review show every single Sunday right here on my channel. It is great to have you here. Thank you for sticking with me on this adventure. And if you're new here, please do not forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the corner so you can keep in touch with all of my videos. Join the family, join the clan. It is great to have you all on board. Yes, we are reviewing Outlander today. Outlander episode 412. It was a great, emotional, heavy episode. And right away, I've got a spoiler for you. This episode 412 is one of 2 episodes in season 4 that doesn't feature Jamie or Claire at all. And here's the funny thing, right? The 2 episodes which haven't featured Jamie or Claire have actually been among my favourites of the season. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. That is odd, considering this show is all about Jamie and Claire and their adventures. And yet, I just absolutely love today's episode, 412, Providence, for reasons I'm going to get into. I've actually got a really cool announcement for you towards the end of today's video. Please hang around for that. Last week's episode, we left with Roger seemingly getting beaten up by his captors, the Mohawk Indians, beaten up badly. And this week's episode opens with Roger, you guessed it, getting beaten up badly by the Mohawk Indians. Actually, this is an initiation service. It is called Running the Gauntlet. As a lot of you guys pointed out to me in last week's episode, this is an initiation for people. They basically have to just survive getting a beating, and then they're pretty much almost welcomed into their new family tribe, if you like. But more about Roger in a little minute. We've got a lot to talk about Roger, because actually the 2 other characters that we need to go into detail today in this week's episode is Brianna and Lord John Grey, the new couple, if you like. They are getting married. It's like a kind of arranged marriage, and it's really just Lord John Grey doing a favour to Jamie, looking after Brianna, making sure she comes to no harm. But Stephen Bonnet, the person who raped Brianna and Lord John Grey have learned, is going to be hung because he's been held captive. He's been captured by the Redcoats. On hearing this news, Brianna is really pleading with Lord John to take her to Wilmington to meet Bonnet. And like, everybody's thinking, I was thinking, like, this is a bad idea, Brianna. You cannot do this. It's dangerous, maybe. And like, do you really want to go there? Brianna insists, and then we kind of find out why. She reads out a letter from Jamie, and actually this is the only time we come across Jamie in this episode because his voice reads out the letter to Brianna. Basically saying to her, revenge is not going to serve you well, especially with a man like Stephen Bonnet. Leave that to other people. You should instead forgive. And that is what Brianna's actually essentially up to. She wants Lord John Grey to take her to Wilmington to see Stephen Bonnet and give him forgiveness for what he did, which is like kind of difficult to understand, but also like I've never been in that position, so I don't know how she would take it. But that's what she's going to do. On Jamie's advice and on her own feeling, she's pregnant now, heavily pregnant, but she decides to go there. As soon as that was like announced by Brianna, I was thinking, this is trouble. This has to be trouble. Stephen Bonnet's end is supposed to be on the hangman's noose, but I fear if Brianna interferes and somehow, he will not die. Yeah, we'll get to that because another big storyline develops, and this is something I found fascinating in parallel. Roger is in the Mohawk Indian camp. He is struggling to adjust to the life. They've got certain rules that you need to follow in their kind of family life, and he just struggles with it. He doesn't know how to fit in. He says the wrong things, which gets him into trouble. Inevitably, he gets in so much trouble that he goes to the Mohawk Indian version of jail. He is in jail. He goes into this hut where he's held captive. He's in a prison. And he meets another man there, and the other man is a French priest. He had been given this new name, Roger had, by the Mohawk as they accepted him after their initiation, and it was Dogface. I don't know why they call him Dogface. Does he look like a dog? Couldn't really work that one out, but there must be something to it. And he gets up a bit of a rapport with this priest who is also in jail. Why is there a priest in jail? He finds out the priest had fallen in love with one of the tribe's members and had actually had a baby with her. But in terms of the Mohawk and what they thought, this wasn't the worst thing. They let him off with that. But they wanted him to baptize the baby. But because of his beliefs, his Christian beliefs, he couldn't baptize the baby because in his eyes, he had committed a mortal sin. He had fallen in love. He had fallen for lust and like had sexual relations with a woman. And as you know, as a priest, you can't do that. The Mohawks threaten the priest with like basically death. First of all, they give him like a kind of naked punishment and chop his ear off, and said to him, listen, if you do not baptize this baby in the way that you would other babies, and your religion, we are going to kill you. And he still refused to do it. He gets chucked back in the jail with Roger, and Roger has a heart-to-heart with him and said, listen, I have been an idiot. Roger admits to being an idiot. I think this is so funny because over the last few episodes, I had said Roger has been such an idiot throughout a lot of the episodes in season 4, and Roger talking about this was quite funny to me, although not for the same reasons as I thought he was being an idiot, right? He was telling the priest like he had made so many mistakes and so he had so many chances just to go home and live his normal, comfortable life where he wouldn't be in danger, but instead, because of love for a woman, he got himself in all this trouble, got himself beaten up. He's miles from home with no real prospect of ever getting back. He feels this was his big mistake, love. And actually, he says to the priest, you have to look after number one. That is one of his big lessons in all of this. Look after number one and all will be well. Turn your back on love, he says. He says to the priest, you need to do exactly what they want you to do. You can make it up even. Don't even do the real christening ceremony. Just make it up. They won't even know the difference. But once he realizes the priest is not going to do that, he's not going to go back on his morals as a priest, and he's going to be tortured to death. On fire, slowly over a number of days. Roger thinks, right, listen, okay, you're not going to do that, but maybe there's another route. Maybe we can escape together. And he says, this is our escape. We're going to dig a hole and we're going to get out. We're going to rescue the women from the tribe that you had these relationships with the baby, and we're going to go. And I'm thinking to myself, Roger, are you still an idiot? This is going to lead you to trouble. You're going to get caught. Who knows what else happens after that? But the priest is basically giving up and he's saying, listen, I am going to go and take my punishment and it's going to give you time to escape. Meanwhile, back in Wilmington, right? Fergus comes back into play. He knows what's happened to Murtagh because he was there last week when Murtagh got caught, and he wants to help him. He wants to escape. He makes a plan. Marsley sees what he's up to, and like we think he's going to be in trouble at first, but actually Marsley's like, this is great. This is your plan. You're going to do this. You're going to set Murtagh free, and I'm going to help you. I thought this was absolutely great to see that. The two come together. They're going to go on an adventure. Back in the day, when we saw Outlander seasons 1, 2, 3, Fergus, even as a wee boy, was this like pickpocket. He was sly, he was sneaky, he was strong, and he always went on an adventure and usually did things in an amazing way. He's not been up to that for a very long time, and we think this could be his way back into adventure. Saving Murtagh. And guys, I have to say, I've been saying this since we saw Murtagh reappear on our screens, that I thought that his activities as a regulator, as a head of the regulators, was going to ultimately lead to him on the chopping block. So basically, it was this episode, now or never, for Murtagh to be saved. Could Fergus pull it off? Meanwhile, pretty much on exactly the same day as Fergus is planning his great escape, Brianna and Lord John Grey arrive at the prison. They obviously have privileged access into the prison because of Lord John Grey's status, and Brianna goes on her own to meet Stephen Bonnet. Now there was a scene that I just thought was really kind of hard, and I think there's a lot of people out there watching who might have saw this episode and saw that scene in particular and found it really difficult. Brianna confronting the person who'd done something so awful to her, and we can see immediately that Bonnet is unrepenting. He is still an arse, basically. Doesn't feel any remorse. He knows he's going to die and he seems to be quite content with that. Brianna was there to give forgiveness. She gave it at first, then she started going on with all this harsh language to Stephen Bonnet, telling him basically he's going to die and nobody will ever remember him. I'm thinking to myself, this is not forgiveness, but Brianna, I totally agree with you. I would not be forgiving this man either. He deserves to rot in hell. As Lord John Grey and Brianna are in there in the prison speaking to Stephen Bonnet, Fergus is laying gunpowder. Fergus, Marsley, and then they've got two other regulators from Scotland who will be helping them out. And then we'd get that music coming on. It's the Scottish music that has played throughout Outlander, throughout the seasons. The type of music that we know that mischief is coming. Fergus puts a gun to the guard's head and says, listen, you're going to let me in to this jail right now. There's 4 of them. They are all with guns pointing. They get into the jail. And like this moment after that, I thought was just great, hilarious, tense, and also so exciting. Fergus points the gun and doesn't realise that Lord John Grey is in there. They two meet and are like, what is going on here? Because they know each other. Once Brianna finds out what's going on, she wants to help as well. Murtagh's just as confused, but he's like going for it as well. Everybody's trying to get out. But meanwhile, we've got Lord John Grey. Remember Lord John Grey's status. He is about as high as you get, a lord. And in terms of authority, would not be that far under the whole governor of the state, Lord Tryon. By rights, he could get every single person involved in that room and trying to help Murtagh escape to be hung. But of course, Lord John Grey doesn't do that. He's a good man. We all loved Lord John Grey, and in this episode, we see why. He comes through and he's helping Murtagh and the guys get out. There's a moment where Murtagh and Lord John Grey discuss who's going to be the one that takes Brianna to safety. But as Lord John Grey points out to Murtagh, every redcoat in this area will be looking for him, looking for his head. He cannot be caught with Brianna because then she will be an accomplice and probably killed as well. Lord John Grey does the right thing and takes her off to safety. I'm thinking to myself though, Lord John Grey must have his suspicions now because Brianna was so adamant to get into the prison, and it just so happened to be coincidentally the same time the whole escape plan by Fergus they're all family members. He must be thinking Brianna was in on this. But when the guards come running out and meet Lord John Grey and Brianna, instead of telling them where, in which direction that Fergus and Murtagh and all the rest of it, where they escaped to, Lord John Grey basically gives them a bit of a steer. Says he has no idea. So, like, Lord John Grey is solidified as a hero in our eyes, right? Saved the day there. Brianna had also left a set of keys close to Stephen Bonnet, and he had managed to get his grubby little hands on them just before the explosion. We don't quite see if he escapes. But I'm thinking to myself, there's just no way he did not get his keys, open his lock, and run out before that explosion. There's no way. It was a really tense and funny scene. I really enjoyed it. It might even have been one of my favourite moments of this whole season. It was great. I loved it. The escape sequence of Murtagh being pulled out. Lord John Grey was there. Fergus was there. Brianna was there. Murtagh obviously was there. It was hilarious. Fergus was the man on a mission and he pulled it off. It looks like Murtagh now might be on the road to safety. If they were going to kill off Murtagh, they would have done it now. He would not have escaped jail, and that is how he would have seen his end. There's no way he's escaped now, only to be recaptured. I just can't see that happening. I think Murtagh's safe. With one episode to go, I'm pretty certain Murtagh is safe for this season and until at least season 5. Back in New York State, right, Roger has escaped. He's dug his tunnel underneath the cage, the prison that he is in the Mohawk captivity, and he's got out. And he's running away. He's in the woods. He's on clear and easy streets now. All he needs to do is keep running because the Mohawk tribe are all occupied now with the torture that they are given to the priest because he, of course, did not baptize the baby. Roger freezes because he hears the screams. This priest, who was very kind to him, they built up this like kind of friendship there in the cell. He hears his screams. It's awful screaming. A man being tortured to death slowly. He stops and he's talking to himself. Do not be an idiot again. We've been through this. I need to look after number one. This is me now free. I thought it was also interesting he was telling the priest that he could have went back for the stones and he should have, and he regrets not going. I must admit I was surprised by that comment. But nonetheless, his intention is to escape now, and if he does escape, I'm thinking to myself, he might just go on all the way back to Scotland and back to Grignadoon and away home. But like, as the priest screams, his conscience get the better. You could just see it in his facial expressions. He's hurting over this, like he doesn't want to go. He has to keep going on, but like, Roger is too much of a nice guy. He can't be the one that looks after himself only. Roger might be an idiot. As I said weeks ago, and as he confessed today, Roger is an idiot, right? But he is a well-intentioned idiot. He's a good man. He couldn't have left that whole situation as it was. And then we get this music playing. The whole set just goes deadly quiet. They turn off all the sound and we just get this music playing. Kind of like in the early stages of season 4 when they played America the Beautiful and they turned off all the sound in a very brutal moment. I kind of feel like this part in this episode was almost an exact contrast to that moment we had early on in season 1. They played Adagio for Strings, which is a classical piece of music by a composer that I can't remember the name of. But listen, you might think pretty bad of me for telling you this. I know that music because I was heavily into dance music. That song had been remixed by a dance DJ artist and it sounded absolutely marvellous. That was a little bit distracting because instead of being this really somber moment of pain and suffering and Roger having to make a really hard decision, classical music is great for that. I was actually taken back to a dance floor on a nightclub. I can hear it, I'm going back there now. Roger finds himself watching what they're doing to this priest. He's on the stake, he's tied up to a stake, right, a wooden stake, and they've got a fire lit underneath his feet. And basically what happens over the course of days is this fire wouldn't really burn up high, it would just burn his feet and cause so much pain that eventually the priest or whoever it was that was in captivity would die from the pain. There's no way the Mohawk Indians are going to let him free from that. That is going to be his punishment. He's going to die in agony over the course of days. The woman with the baby who loved the priest and who had had this relationship is there watching and crying. It is a really horrible, horrible moment. Roger's internal struggles about this. He's still got the option to go for freedom, to run. I was not expecting this. This took me totally by surprise. I could not believe this was happening. Roger, the good guy he is, thought the only way that this was acceptable was a quick and fast death. So he grabbed a barrel of fuel and chucked it onto the fire, which immediately exploded and engulfed the man in flames. All of this was happening in slow motion. We could see the anguish on all the characters' faces. I thought Rick Rankin in this episode, by the way, I'm just going to say it now, was outstanding. One of the best performances I've seen from him in all of Outlander. Absolutely incredible. You could see the suffering, not just physically at the beatings that he got, but now also emotionally in making these decisions. The priest is basically dead in seconds in this inferno of a fire that Roger has caused. The priest's girlfriend, seeing this, lets the baby down on the ground and then runs in slow motion directly into the fire and is engulfed as well. The Mohawk Indian, who I think is in a relationship with this girl as well, I don't know that for sure, you guys can let me know. You can see his face of like anger and upset at what he's just seeing and shock and disbelief. But that is where we are left off at the second last episode of Outlander season 4. Providence, I think it was a great title because we're talking about basically religion. Roger had a lot of conversations about God with the priest and whether the priest should do it from his morals or not, and like Roger's moral dilemma. I just thought it was a great episode. I really liked the scenes, especially the escape from jail. I thought that was great to have all those characters in the same place at the same time, and that Roger scene at the end was like just phenomenal, absolutely incredible. But like, what are the Mohawk Indians going to do now? They are going to be pretty angry with Roger. Poor Roger, yet again. He made a decision which is admirable on moral stance and doing the right thing for another human being, but at the same time he could have escaped, and now he won't because he went back to save the priest. So what can we say about that? Roger, I don't know what they're going to do to him, but we've not got much time left to find out. We didn't see Jamie or Claire in this episode. Maybe they're going to stumble upon him and save him. Who knows? We've not got much time to find out. But listen, I think it's going to leave us season 4 at the end on a big cliffhanger at some juncture. Roger, is he going to get out of this situation by the end of the season? I think probably not. I don't think they've got time for that, and I think the whole idea is to set us up for this cliffhanger. But I would love to know your opinion. What are you thinking about this? What do you think about the setup for the end, the finale of season 4? The end of my review, my reaction to Outlander episode 412, I give it a thumbs up. It was good, based on the acting mostly of Rick Rankin as Roger and that scene in the jail. Anyway guys, listen, like I said, I've got a wee bit of an announcement, and this is kind of like a personal work type of an announcement. One thing I don't really talk about on this vlog, on this channel, is the fact that photography used to be a massive part of my life. Photography and video were my first jobs that I took after high school that I was really passionate about. I had loads of other jobs, but that was the first career that I thought that I would actually love. After about maybe 5 years of working in the industry, photography kind of fell off for me a little bit. I fell out of love with it. But through doing these vlogs, through learning to love the camera over the last couple of years here on this channel, I have slowly fallen back in love with photography. And with that newfound passion, I have decided over the last year or so to start doing commissions on photography. So I've been taking photos, for example, of weddings of friends and other special family engagements, lifestyle photos, photos for brands and corporations and stuff. I'm just falling in love with the camera and holding the camera and taking shots again like I always used to love doing. In fact, you'll very rarely see me now out and about without a camera. So I've decided for this year, 2019, I'm going to start taking some photography and video commissions. I've opened up a little landing page website, www.ShaunAlexanderImages.com, and I would very much love if you go and check it out. But the big huge favour I need from you guys, as the fact that I'm going to be doing this in 2019, if you have any friends or family members, distant family members, cousins, or whatever, getting married or having any special occasions that they need photographed, I am their man. So if you know anybody in your contacts or whatever that needs photography services, I'm taking commissions this year. It is a passion, it always has been, whether it's photo or video, and I'm very excited about it. Go and check out the landing page on the website and send it to anybody who might be needing those services. It's not just the fact that I'm here in Scotland, I will be taking these photo services around the world. It could be in North America, it could be in Central Europe, wherever in the world there is a job for me to photograph, I will be doing it. So, that's my announcement. And guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of this vlog. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much for being with me on this Outlander journey. It is great to talk Outlander with somebody after the episode every week. I really love getting involved in the discussions in the comments afterwards, so yeah, love to know your thoughts on this week's episode. Anyway, that is it for this week's review. So, until the next Outlander adventure, I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is wherever you are in the world. Take care.